Welcome, everybody, to Success Now, How to Achieve Anything with Evolution for Success and James Murphy. Tonight, for those of you who don't know where I am, or who I am, I want to give you a big welcome to the Evolution for Success coaching community. For those of you who don't know me, my name is James Murphy. I'm a business executive coach, and I got my start in the business here a long time ago with a big guy with big teeth called Tony Robbins. And I started coaching with this company in 1999, was with this company for about 10 years. In 2010, I left and I started my own business practice. And I'm a master practitioner of NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis to help people create emotional change. And to date, I've logged over 35,000 coaching sessions. So over the last 19 years or so. So I'm a guy with a lot of experience. I'm here to basically help you tonight understand several things, right? We're going to talk about success. We're going to talk about what success means, what prevents people from success, and how you can overcome and achieve it. So tonight is really about understanding what you really want to have in life, right? And when I ask people, hey, what do you want to have in life? They say stuff like, look, I want to have more money. I want to have a new car. I want to have a better relationship. A lot of those are external things. They also want internal things. Sometimes when I ask people, hey, what do you want from life? They say stuff like, I just don't want to be frustrated. I want to be happy, right? I want to stop all this negative thinking or all this stuff that's going on in my mind. So we're going to explore some of that this evening. And the first step of that, of course, is really just stopping and understanding, hey, what do you want? What's important to you? And we're going to do that. And then we're going to take a look at what's the process to actually achieve it, right? Once you figure out what you want from life, what's the process to actually make things happen? There's a 5-step process. It's a 5-step coaching process. I kind of do a little James Murphy fix in there and add an additional half a step. But we're going to cover that at the end so you have some clarity on how to achieve it. But more importantly, what are some of the things and what are some of the steps that you're missing that maybe you could add in if you're not getting what you want? Okay, so why would learning these steps be important? Let me tell you why. Because how often in life have you had a great idea, right? The light bulb goes on, you're like, oh my gosh. Like I remember the first time I wanted to go run a marathon. I was like, oh my gosh, I got this great grand idea. Light bulb went off. I want to go run a marathon, right? And so I started to take some action. I went out, signed up for the marathon, put my money in, and then guess what happened? After a day or two starting to run with my training plan, I hit the wall, right? Those obstacles came up. And I love to say that, when you set a goal, you put all those obstacles in place. And how soon do we hit those, right? When you hit that brick wall. And in the end, when people were saying, hey, James, how did the marathon go? How was it? I just had to say, you know what? The whole thing just turned out to be one big train wreck because I didn't even show up, right? I signed up for the race, didn't even show up for my first marathon. It was like a crazy experience. So we're going to take a look at stopping the insanity, right? Einstein said insanity was doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. We're going to take a look at how do we stop it? How do we create something new with the 5-step coaching process? And I want you to achieve, right? We all want to reach the summit. We want to hit the peak. We want to hit the place where we really appreciate, love, and enjoy where we are. And so we want to make that happen. So let's jump into understanding what you want from life, right? We all come into this life, right, going, gee, what do I want to have? It's a question that people ask themselves really almost their entire life. Some people find the answer, and a lot of times when we get old, we still don't know, right? So this is a question that is often asked and rarely answered. And even when we do answer it, a lot of times that answer changes a lot. So whether you're young, whether you're old, there's something in here for everybody to experience, have, or do something different. So now I want you to grab a pen and paper because this is going to be a little bit proactive here. But I'm going to start by talking about how do we just simply set a goal? How do you get some clarity on what do you want to have in life? So the first step of that, of course, is to understand values. Now, most people say, hey, James, what are values? Values are just words that we use to convey deep emotions. And the reason that values are important is because they guide everything that we do in life. So values are words like you've seen some of these before: integrity, honesty, progress, support, communication, trust. There's 2 pages of them in my 30 Day for Success book, right? We have joy, love, achievement, balance, compassion, empathy, love, joy, happiness, respect. We also have negative values, things like anger, frustration. And so values are just these words that we use to describe deep emotions within us and who we are. So we want to understand values and what our values are. So how do we figure out what our values are? Well, I'm really glad you asked, because there's only just one simple question. So grab your pen and paper, and we're just going to do some general values work for your life. So I just want you to grab your pen, and we're just going to ask this question: what is most important to you in your life? So just go ahead and take a minute and just keep asking yourself a question. Write it down freehand. What's most important to you in your life, right? I'd say my family. Great. Well, what does your family allow you to feel and experience? Maybe a deep sense of love, fun, playfulness, happiness. Great. Maybe, money is important to you in life. Why is money important to you? Because maybe it gives you a sense of security, right? Maybe it gives you a sense of power. Maybe it gives you a sense of significance. What else is most important to you in your life? Some people really want to achieve. Some people really want to contribute. Just find those words that really fit for you, right? Dig down what's most important to you in your life. And even if you start to hit the same words over and over again, keep writing them down, right? What else is most important to you in your life? Why is that important to you? What else is most important to you in your life? Why is that important to you? And really dig down. Find those deep values. Okay, so I'm just going to be quiet for a second, but just keep asking yourself that question and writing down what's most important to me in my life. When you think you have it all, reread the list, what's most important to me in my life, and then just say, great, what else? Do that at least 3 times. Really dig down, right? What's most important to you in your life? What's most important to you in your life, and why is that important? So you can feel or experience what? What's most important to you in your life, and why is that important to you so you can feel or experience what? Great. So when you're done, what I want you to do is just go through and circle or underline all your values that are in there. And I want you to pull them out. Things like success, power, achievement, love, joy, happiness. I want you to pull out all those values and then come up with your top 5 list, right? So list your top 5 values of what's most important to you in your life, right? And then just do a double check. Once you do your top 5, just go ahead and write those down. What's most important to my life? What are the top 5 there? And go ahead and write down your top 5 list. All right, so now comes the fun part. Now that you have your top 5 words, they should be really kind of general, right? Like love, happiness, whatever that is. And we're going to take your top 5 list and we're going to do a brainstorming session again. We're going to write some more. So get a fresh piece of paper, and with your top 5 values, we're going to plug them in to this sentence. Okay, what are all of the things that you could do that would allow you to have more, and plug in your number 1 value? So if it's happiness, say, great, what are all the things I could do that would allow me to have more happiness in my life? And just go ahead and write that down, big, small, whatever. What are all the things that you could do that allow you to have more happiness in your life? Maybe it's take more beach vacations. Maybe it's go for a run tomorrow. Hug your kids, read them a book tonight if they're little kids. Go for a bike ride, go for a walk with your spouse, go, paddle on a lake or a river, go do a marathon, triathlon, whatever. What are all the things that you could do that would allow you to have more of that number 1 value in your life? Just go ahead and take a minute and just brainstorm. Just keep asking the question. And if you get really stuck, I'll give you a little clue. Get up and walk around. Use your physical body. Motion creates emotion. So what are all the things that you could do that would allow you to have more of that number 1 value in your life? And if you get stuck, just go back and reread it. What are all the things I could do that allow me to have more? And then put your list in there, right? More walks, more sunsets on the beach, more whatever. That would allow me to have more happiness in my life. Great. What else would allow me to have more of that happiness in my life? Just keep repeating the question, because the mind is a beautiful thing. The more you ask it a question, the more it's programmed to find an answer. So we want to ask a really good, positive, empowering question. So just keep asking yourself, hey, what are all the things I could do to allow me to have more blank in my blank, happiness in my life, whatever that is. And then, of course, we're not going to do it now because of the webinar, but you'd fill this in with number 2, and then number 3, and then number 4, and then number 5 for all of your values. What are all the things that you could do that would allow you to have more blank in your life? So you'd want to do this well. You can even do it with all 5 in there. Think outside the box, right? What are all the things I could do to allow me to have more happiness, love, joy, playfulness, adventure, whatever those great things are in my life, right? What are all the things I could do to allow me to have more, happiness, security, achievement, power, strength, whatever those values are in my life. You can put them all in there at once if you want as well. So the key is to just go ahead and do one big, huge brainstorm, and then just pick out the top goals that you have there. What's a 1-year goal, a 3-year goal, a 5-year goal, a 6-month goal, a quarterly goal, or what do you just want to do next week, right? Or maybe just today, so you have more happiness in your life. Pull all those things out that are good and important to you. And you just did your goal setting 101 right there, based on the emotions and the things that you most want to have. So nice big brainstorm. You release all your judgment on whatever comes to mind, and just ask yourself, what are all the things I could do to allow me to have more of those values in your life? All right? All right. Next thing we want to do is write down, well, guess what? What happens if you don't go do those things? Now, I used to have a real serious problem with this with Tony Robbins. I was like, oh man, why is he always bringing up the pain? Why is he always bringing up the pain, right? The pain. What's it going to cost me if I do that? Well, the reason for that very simply is just because most people don't change unless they have enough pain associated to it in the morning or in the moment to make that change stick. Right? I read once a long time ago in a psychology magazine that if you don't step up and create change in areas of your life where you're unhappy, right? If you keep pushing it off and you don't face your fears and create new things, about every 6 years, unconsciously, you're going to create something in that area of life. So you have to deal with it, whether it's dis-ease in your body, whether you do something to get yourself, fired, whether you fall and break an ankle, whether you do something, you go into debt a whole bunch. I'm trying to think all the categories, right? Health, career, finances, spiritual, emotional, and relationships, right? You're going to create something unconsciously for you to create the change. So if you don't look at where you have pain in your life and what's it going to cost you if you don't do something different, I always love to say, if you don't make time to take care of your body and your mind, it's going to make you make time for it. So we might as well be proactive and say, hey, if I don't do this, what's going to happen? And you know what? I'm going to use that in a good way to move towards what I want, because we never want this to happen, right? We want to stay away from creating a reality and environment where there's too much pain and we're in overwhelm. So face your fears, face the pain, and use it in a good way, because if you don't, unconsciously, you're probably going to make time for that. So let's understand, you have your goal. Let's understand the process to achieve it, right? Let's connect the dots and have this goal come to life here, okay? So this is the 5-step coaching process, and it's a little bit of the James Murphy derivative, because I added in a step. I'm going to tell you what that is as we go along here. But the first step in the coaching process is just understanding, hey, where are you now? Right? So it's good to know, hey, where am I now? If I want to run a marathon, where am I right now? The bottom line is where I'm right now is I'm not running at all. So, okay, if I want to run a marathon, I have to take a look at where I am right now. The pain of the fact is that I'm not doing anything, right? Or maybe you want to be, in a better place financially. Well, we got to take a look at where you are right now. You know what? I'm in debt. I have credit card debt. Or maybe you're in a relationship and you got to say, hey, look, I really want a relationship, but where am I right now? Well, you know what? I'm tired. I'm alone. I come home every night. I don't even have a dog to come home to, right? But whatever that is, you really want to have, pardon the metaphor, but come to Jesus, talk about where am I right now, right? You have to get real with yourself and create that level of self-awareness of this is where I am. So you know where you're starting from, all right? Once you know where you are, then we need to define our goal, right? That's what we just did, which is, where do I want to be? I want to be way out here somewhere in the future, right? And the beautiful thing about what that is that creates this big gap, right? Between here, where you are now, and where you want to be out here. When we define these two things, what's really great is there's a big gap, right? It's like all of a sudden, and this is where the panic and the overwhelm hits, because you're like, oh my gosh, the big word comes in. How am I going to do that? And that usually shuts us down, right? So you want to be careful of that. But the bottom line is, this is really a good thing. When you take a look at where are you now, and then where do you want to be, that's powerful, because that leads us to step number 3, okay? Step number 3 is we have to take a good look at, we want to take a look at defining the obstacles. So between here and here, what are the obstacles that we just set in place? I tell people that all the time. I'm like, when you set a goal, you put all your obstacles in place. And those obstacles are going to be internal obstacles, and they're going to be external obstacles. There's going to be internal and external. So what are those? Let's take a look at that, okay? So here are the 5 major internal obstacles that you're going to face when you set a goal. The first one are mental thoughts, right? The first obstacle is mental, mental obstacles. This is, whoa, what happened? Hang on, let's get back to it. That was a nice pattern interrupt, right? In regards to change here. Hang on one second. Don't know how that happened. All right, let's get back to our favorite stage, our favorite place. We went through the train wreck, right? Insanity, the summit, understanding what you want, your goals. This is a nice recap in the middle of the middle of our program here, right? So great. What'll happen if you don't? The power of pain. Every 6 years, put the dots together. Coaching. Where are we now? Great. Where do we want to be? And of course, now define our obstacles. Oop! What the heck? Right? Where do we want to be? All right. So how do I get my... So we're going to take a look at what are the major mental or major internal obstacles. So the first ones are mental, right? Those automatic negative thoughts. These are called many different things, right? They're called limiting decisions. They're called monkey mind, right? Limiting decisions, automatic negative thoughts. They're called a lot of different things, but it's the negative self-talk that you have inside your head. So as soon as I set a goal to run my first marathon, I said, yeah, but really, can I do it? That's, what if I fail? I'm not good enough, right? Those are some mental ones. So those are the first set of obstacles that you have to be careful that you're going to need to overcome. The second one are emotional obstacles. These are the values, right? The negative values that I talked about: anger, sadness, fear, guilt, limiting decisions. Like that was a slide before, the mental stuff. We have to learn to understand and work with our emotions, because our emotions happen, right? Last marathon I did, first day 1, I'm looking at the 90 days that are blank in my marathon training plan. I hit a negative emotional obstacle, which was overwhelm, right? Overwhelm's a very common one that keeps people from achieving their goals. So we have our mental obstacles. We have our emotional obstacles. We also have physical obstacles, right? If I'm going to run the marathon, I'm going to have aches, pains, cramps. How do I take care of myself? How do I hydrate, sleep, insomnia? We have all sorts of physiological or physical obstacles that we encounter with our goals. And then, of course, sometimes there are spiritual obstacles. And spiritual obstacles are just things like feeling connected, knowing that you can do it, feeling grounded, right? Having that sense of I can do it, whatever that is. So step number 1 in the coaching process is know where you are. Step number 2 is know where you're going to be. Step number 3 is defining the obstacles that you just set in place as a result of setting your goal. This is where I take off a little bit from traditional coaching. Step number 4 in the traditional coaching method is develop some new strategies, right? I personally believe that it's important, once we understand those mental and emotional obstacles, that we actually release those. There are some techniques and some really powerful tools that we can do to actually release negative emotions, because what that does is it frees us from all that negativity, so we're not trying to rewrite over it. Imagine trying to write a new book over a book that's already published, right? It's a big jumbled mess. But if you can take an old book, wipe all the pages clean, and then start to write your book fresh, moving towards your goals, it's much easier, it's much clearer in the mind and the body and the mental emotional space to write a book that way. So we want to clear the screen. We want to clear up all the negative emotions. And these are the primary ones. I just said them on the previous time. There's anger, there's sadness, there's fear, guilt and regret, and of course, those limiting decisions that bind us and keep us trapped. If I do this, then I'll do that, instead of, hey, how can I have both? Right? That's a limitation. So step number 4 in my model of the world is to really make sure that we release negative emotions as we move towards our goal. And then step number 5 is, of course, to build those new strategies and have accountability and support. So we want to build those new strategies. So what are some of the ways we can do that? Well, the first one is to create leverage, right? I wrote my 30-Day for Success book. It's really easy. You can go to 30daysforsuccess.com. It's a great little 30-day workbook, morning and evening. Dive into great thinking tools, about 15 days of thinking tools. In 15 days are all this values work. It's all in there. So you can have a workbook to just go in and map all this stuff out, create an entire dynamic life plan. I created that by creating some leverage. I just said, hey, reached out to all my people and said, hey, I'm going to do this in the next 30 days, right? I need some beta testers, and I just wrote the program in 30 days, created some good leverage. The other one is to find new people to surround yourself. You rise and fall to the level of your peer group. So new strategies always involve surrounding yourself with new people, and of course, going to new places. If you want a new strategy of health, you got to get to the gym, right? If you don't want to be, drinking so much, well, you got to quit going to the bar. So changing places that you go is always important. And then the last one is to shift and change the things around you in your environment, right? Things that we put around us for comfort, right? If you want to quit drinking as much, you got to get rid of the kegger and the beer lights and everything else and the shot glasses, and just get rid of that stuff, because those things aren't really supporting you anymore. And you want to put new things in your life that do support the new endeavors and the things that you want to integrate and make happen with your goals. So then, and only then, when you do that stuff, then you act and create change, because action changes things. But notice the process here. I really want you to be clear on this. In order to achieve anything, you have to know where you are. You have to know where you're going to go. You have to address the obstacles that you're putting in place, the negative thinking, the negative emotions, the issues and the things that come up in your mind. Being self-aware of that is critical before you just act, because willpower never creates long-term change, because eventually, as soon as your willpower goes weak, the emotions and the negativity of those things kick in, and it wins in the end. And you see that all the time with people who lose weight and then they gain weight. They lose weight, then they gain weight. They never really deal with the root cause emotional issues. So they go as far as they can with the weight loss, with their willpower, and then they fall back down because they go weak. And then they do it again, and then it goes back down, and it becomes a cyclical thing. And eventually people just get tired, right? So these steps come in a very specific order. So you have to clear up the emotional stuff and then take action. And of course, like everything, we always need to keep reassessing and readjusting as we move forward, because a plane going from here to Hawaii is off track 98% of the time, right? But what's important is we're absolutely on track when we take off, clarity on the runway, and we're absolutely clear where the runway is when we land. But everything in between there, even though it's a planned flight path, we're always making adjustments back and forth and everywhere. So if you're having a problem, if you say, okay, but James, I've done all that stuff, and guess what? I'm still hitting a wall. That means that there's that mental, emotional, physical stuff that's there, and you're headed for a train wreck. So if you're still doing that, then one of the things we love to say in coaching is, everybody has a blind spot. It's just like driving a car. You're always looking ahead. You're looking side to side. You're even looking in the rearview mirror a lot of times. But no matter where you're looking, since you're living life through your own lenses, you always have a blind spot, right? So this is one of my favorite cartoons. Hey, how about some wheels? No, thanks. We're too busy here. So bottom line is that's why coaching came around. is because the coach is here to help you get new tools when you're trying to get where you want to go and things get all confusing. Because it's a lot to manage. It's a lot to manage when you're dealing with the mental stuff and the emotional stuff and the physical stuff and, not sleeping at night. And then you got the spiritual stuff and you have all this monkey mind and the thoughts and the feelings and the overwhelm. It's a lot to start to manage. So the coach, getting a great coach, can help support you to sort all that stuff out, give you the right tools in the right time and place so that you can get in the right place so that the actions then that you're taking are congruent, they're focused, and they produce results 3 times as fast because you're not trying to get somewhere fast with square wheels. All right. So I wanted to provide you a special bonus for sticking around to the end and introduce you to something new that I'm opening up, which is a new group coaching model. A lot of times I say, James, I just can't afford you. Life's too expensive, whatever that is. Well, for the month of August, since I'm kicking this off in August, I have a special deal, right? Which is what the group coaching is, and I'm going to give you the deal in a second here, is it's basically affordable monthly coaching webinars. Tonight's a real short one, 25 minutes or so. All these webinars are going to be held on the 3rd Tuesday of every month. They're going to start at 8 o'clock, just like tonight, and they're going to be recorded again and again for you to watch over and over again, and they're going to be personally hosted by me, and they start on Tuesday, August 21st. All right? So I'm going to help you, give you all the tools and strategies that I have from 19 years of my experience, having coached over 35,000 coaching sessions with people, right? Putting this stuff, achieving it in my life. We're going to develop compelling goals for your future. We're going to uncover your obstacles. You're going to have all the tools and strategies that you need and get the accountability and support you need to achieve success now. So if you sign up before August 21st, or after August 21st, it's going to go to $97 a month. But for you today and forever, it's only $47, right? If you sign up before August 21st. I'm going to throw in a bonus. I'm going to give you my 12-month coaching journal so that you'll have an opportunity, a book to mark your journey in, watch your journey in. It has coaching tools in the back. I'm going to provide handouts in every single coaching session. You're going to get free email support from me and bonus gifts along the way. There are no cancellation fees. You can start and stop anytime you want. And like I said, they're going to be recorded for your review. So if you can't make a webinar, not a problem. They're going to be recorded for you to watch over and over and over again. So if you want to sign up for the group coaching today, all you need to do is just type in this little bit.ly code here, bit.ly/monthly group coaching. It'll take you straight to my webpage. If you just go to my webpage, www.evolutionforsuccess, type in monthly group coaching, you can do that as well. I really look forward to seeing you on the group coaching. If you have any questions about it at all, please feel free to drop me a call anytime. You can call or text my cell phone, 919-745-7569. And I do look forward to speaking with you soon and hope to see you joining up soon for the group coaching. So I'm going to stop the recording now. We're going to have a free Q&A session here, and I really want to thank all of you for attending. And like I said, if you need anything, please feel free to call me anytime. Continue to have a great day. Here's to your continued success.